For most of us, moving abroad doesn't start with picking a country that's gonna feel like home. We move for a job, a relationship, a scholarship, and the country just happens to be where life took us. That was my case too. I did not choose the Netherlands because I love Dutch culture. I came here for a scholarship in Amsterdam, and like many of you, I was trying to adjust, learn the language, and give this place a genuine chance. But what no one told me, and what no one tells any expert, is how confusing, lonely, and identity-shaking this journey can be. As someone who's lived here for 10 years and coached dozens of people through their own culture shock, I want to share the raw, unfiltered truth about what actually happens when you move abroad. Some of these things are specific to the Netherlands, but most of them, no matter where you are, you'll feel them too. Number one, it's hard to fit in. Most people think that moving abroad is the hardest part, but then they move and realize that fitting in is harder than they thought. In the Netherlands, for example, people are friendly on the surface, but it often feels like there is this invisible wall. This invisible wall reminds you that you are a guest and never a local, even after 10-15 years of being in the country. I know someone will say, yeah, it's because you don't speak Dutch. My Dutch is fine, and I've had periods when I was actively learning Dutch and practiced it. I still have an accent and I still make mistakes. Locals hear that and they immediately switch to English. I also have friends who speak Dutch fluently, much better than me. This particular friend that I have in mind has been working for a Dutch company for years, and all this time he's been speaking Dutch at work. He still feels like an outsider despite speaking Dutch fluently. So expats often feel isolated and somehow not fully a part of the country. And no matter how hard you try to understand the culture, to learn the language and to fit in, you will often be reminded that you are not born here, that your Dutch is not good enough, that they don't really want to be friends with you, like they don't want to accept you in their Dutch circle. And this creates the perception that you are rather being tolerated than wanted. I had to prepare myself to record this because I know that some Dutch will lash out on me for saying this, but I know that this is the experience of the many and someone needs to say this. And if you yourself are an expert, please voice your opinion in the comments below. I will read every single comment. Number 2, missing home hits you in waves. Before recording this video, I just listened to a voice note from a friend who also lives abroad. Her sister, who lives back in Russia, is planning to visit their grandmother who lives in another city in Russia. And my friend felt very sad because she could not just say, "Hey sister, wait for me, I'll come too." I visited Moscow this summer and spent my birthday with my parents. I tried to remember when was the last time I spent my birthday with them, and it's been 7 years. 7 years. Can you imagine? I did not spend 7 birthdays with the people who actually brought me to this world. And you might not notice all these things immediately, because when you move, there is just so much things going on. I felt like I needed to prove myself, get a job, excel at this job, get a visa, extend my visa, find friends, and can I find friends? Will I be interesting enough for people outside of my home country? So you have to deal with so many things, but life in your home country hasn't stopped. People move on and they learn to live without you being there. And at first you might not notice it because you still call, you still WhatsApp, but then you're back and then you see how much has changed. Or you notice it in some moments, like micro moments, or big moments, like a close relative hasn't invited you to their wedding, possibly because they are used to you being gone for so long. And you're like, shoot. Now I notice very well all these years I've been gone, and it can sting. Number 3, your relationships will shift. The longer you're away, the more things will change. It might not feel like this at first. It's not like you pull the plug and immediately every single relationship you've had is different now. It's more like a gradual change that you start noticing after some time. I visited home after 4 years of living abroad, and I remember being in a cafe trying to connect to Wi-Fi. At that time, they changed the whole system how to connect to Wi-Fi. It's not simply scan a code and connect, or here is the password. They started using the connection via SMS. Anyway, Anyways, I was trying to figure it out, and my friends laughed at me and said, "What? Is it different in the Netherlands?" They did not mean it badly, they just thought that it was amusing because it was so normal for them. And this moment might seem so tiny, but through these tiny moments, you realize how much you've missed. And it's not that now the whole Wi-Fi system is different in Moscow, but you realize that you've missed more than that. Relationships get transformed in a way that the longer you are abroad, the more gap gets created between you and your friends. They don't understand the challenges that you face here, and their advice can sometimes be even annoying because they think about it as someone who stayed in your home country. And this is fair because this is who they are. But they don't know what it's like to move countries or sometimes continents, to be able or try to explain your point of view at work in a foreign language and have to deal with all different nationalities at work, and all of them have their opinion and their point of view, and you need to somehow learn to listen, understand, and make sense of it, and at the same time worry about what to cook for dinner and how not to die of loneliness. And to be fair, you're also not there with them, and the longer you're abroad, the less you remember and understand what's going on in their daily life. So these misunderstandings can break the friendship or make people distant. I have experienced both. I still have some friends from Moscow and we're still very connected, because what I said above doesn't have to be true for every single case. And with some people we indeed got distant, and from daily chats we only chat now for birthdays. It's one of these situations that make you sad, but you know that there is no other way around it, because you simply cannot force yourself or them to connect. Number 4, your sense of home gets weird. I was recently at a barbecue and someone asked me, where is home for me? I don't like this kind of questions because I never have a good enough answer. For some people, the Netherlands or wherever you moved immediately feels like home. You move, unpack, and feel an instant click. I had to build home from scratch. Learn the language, figure out the supermarket, find my favorite cafe, make my home feel cozy and safe, make real friends. Then I started finally feeling at home. But that comfort came with an unexpected grief, because the more grounded I felt in the Netherlands, the more gaps I started noticing back in Russia. For example, work-life balance makes more sense here. In Moscow, people work crazy hours. Or here, you go by bike and in 20 minutes you're at the office. In Moscow, your commute might take 3-4 hours. So does it mean that I don't love my home country anymore? Or that I've somehow outgrown it? It can feel like this, and it definitely did for me. It was a period of a slight confusion, and it lasted for me for a couple of years before I realized this. It's a bit like having children. You don't love one more than the other, and having the second child doesn't mean that the first child is now going to be abandoned. So I think it's a bit like this with me too when it comes to these two countries, Russia and the Netherlands. Russia raised me, gave me foundation, my emotional fluency, and the Netherlands has shaped me into who I became as an adult. There are a lot of pivotal moments that happened exactly here in the Netherlands. So I love these two countries, and I still cannot define what's home for me. It has become a weird concept, partially because I also don't want to choose between these two countries. So maybe I'm just always carrying my home with me, like a turtle. If you've been feeling stuck or unsure about your life direction, I've got something very special coming just in a few weeks. I am launching a private community where each month we'll focus on one theme together. Our very first month topic is deciding whether the country you're currently living in is truly the right place for you. I know that inability to decide is suffocating for a lot of people, and I've hit this point myself too. So we will do a deep dive into it to get unstuck and start building a life you're excited to wake up to. If it resonates, you can get on the early wait list through the link in the video description below, so you will get notified when the community launches to get the founding member offer. Between us, it's a very good one, and the spots will be limited. On top of that, I will instantly send you my Wheel of Life Abroad tool. It will help you pinpoint which parts of your life are working and which might need some love. Also, you will be able to measure your life against against your values and start already getting the answers about whether you should stay or go. And whatever answers and results you get, we will talk about them deeper in my community. So it will be like simply impossible not to get clarity. So definitely sign up and get your gift with the link in the video description below. Number 5, identity crisis. Identity isn't just a list of traits like I'm confident, friendly, hardworking. It's the result of how you've consistently showed up in familiar environments, around people who mirror your back, affirm your personality, share your references, and get your cultural context. Identity crisis can happen due to numerous factors, but now we're talking about the one that gets triggered by moving abroad. You're moving abroad, you're losing the ecosystem that made you feel like yourself. This kind of identity crisis doesn't usually announce itself loudly. It doesn't say, hello, I'm your identity crisis, now it's gonna get difficult. It typically manifests quietly. For example, at home, your jokes used to be funny, and whenever you are in a party or around people, you would just joke around and you would be that funny girl or guy in the group. And now abroad, you tend to keep your jokes to yourself because they just don't land as funny in English or in the language of the country you moved to. Another example is you used to be productive and disciplined, and now you're binging Netflix and drinking wine alone on a Tuesday. What about a situation where someone used to be a problem solver at work and now they're really struggling to find a solution? All this goes deeper, and with time it gets to questioning 1, your worth. Like, if I cannot be successful or understood here, then who am I really? Number 2, your belonging. Am I too foreign to ever feel at home here? Or number 3, your path. Did I make the right decision? Am I really supposed to be here? Or should I just pack and leave back home? These emotions and thoughts can be quite intense, but it's a normal part of the process. What's likely going on is that you're grieving a version of yourself that made sense in your old world, while trying to build someone new in a place where the rules, expectations, social norms are completely different. So it all takes time, being gentle to yourself, and support. Number 6, feeling subpar as an expat. This is something I don't hear talk about a lot in the internet, but a lot of expats experience it. No matter how capable, kind, educated you are, living abroad can make you feel like you are always behind. I have definitely felt that. It's this subtle sense that locals just know how things work. They speak the language without thinking, they understand the rules, the social codes, the humor. Meanwhile, I'm standing there double checking if I was skipped in the queue or just misunderstood the system. I often felt like a second-class citizen in job applications or social spaces. At first, it was because I always needed to get a visa to stay here, and later because I did not speak Dutch at a native level. A lot of job applications require you not only to speak Dutch, but to speak Dutch at a native level. And that's not possible for expats. No one has ever told me that I'm less because I came here, and this is typically not the experience of an average expat, that they're being told that they don't belong or that they're less than them. Well, maybe except for a few online comments left under my videos, but that's rather an exception because I'm exposed to a lot of people, and on the internet, people are typically braver than in real life. But still, for us expats, it's very easy to internalize little moments and draw conclusions. They belong here, I'm just figuring it out. They know the rules, I'm still learning the language. And over time, it can really erode your confidence. And it can sound ridiculous, but I know a lot of people who subconsciously feel that. Or some even openly share that I don't want to be friends with expats. I want to be friends with Dutch only, because if a Dutch person is friends with me, then I've integrated, then I'm a real deal. I don't want to judge anyone. I just think that looking at someone like this, like bottom up, is giving to them a lot of power and taking this power away from you. In 10 years of living abroad, I have learned to acknowledge how much more I have had to learn, build, and navigate without shortcuts and without safety nets. And that takes a lot of resilience, a lot of skills, a lot of mental stability, mental regulation. It takes a lot. And when you don't have this skill, you need to develop it. And that teaches you something else. That teaches you resourcefulness. And this is something I try to give myself credit for, because it does take a lot more than people realize. And you too, please don't be afraid to claim the credit when it's due. Number 7, raising kids is tough. I guess it's universal for expats because expats don't have the support from their family. Their family might come, visit, and help out, but it's going to be a temporary patch. Let's break it down how it works in the Netherlands. 1 day a week at daycare will cost roughly 500 euros a month. You can do the math how much it would cost for your situation. If you have grandparents nearby, assuming both of them are willing, healthy, and really want to help, then you can account to get help for 2 more days a week. Then, in the Netherlands, it's common to have mamadag and papadag. It's basically 2 full-time or part-time days when a parent is taking care of their child. You just basically work 1 day a week less, and of course, you don't get paid for that. For an expat family who don't have grandparents nearby, they'd have to pay for 3 days of daycare, which will cost them roughly 1,500 euros a month. A significant portion of their salary will go to daycare. Typically, in the Netherlands, one income is not enough to raise a child. This means that both parents have to work. For a woman, it means that she needs to get back to work 4 months after giving birth. Depending on where you're from, it might sound insane. I know that some women feel like, what? Am I supposed to give my little baby to daycare just after 4 months? Like a 4-month baby? What I've seen how an expat's life looks like once they have a child is that they're constantly on the go, dropping kids off, picking them up, rushing to meetings, missing meetings because their baby got sick, barely getting any rest, barely having any space for themselves, and doing all of this without any emotional or practical support that they would have back home. I don't mean to share this to scare anyone, but I wish that more people talked about it so people knew what they were getting into and could make an informed decision whether it's something for them or not. Because parenting abroad is not just about parenting. It's about parenting plus navigating a new system, a new culture, and doing it all without getting any support. So the natural question is, what to do here? Well, we're actually going to be diving into that in my new private community when it launches just in a few weeks. Our first month theme is all about figuring out whether the country you're in is the right place for you and how to make this decision with confidence. You can hop on the early waitlist to get the founding member offer and immediately receive your free gift. And of course, no strings attached. If you change your mind later and you don't want to join the community in the end, it's totally fine. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. If you enjoyed this video, you will likely appreciate this video next. I'll see you there. Bye for now.